What?
What?
What the hell is this?
Harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Give the governor harumph.
Harumph!
You watch your ass.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
Let the show begin.
Hey everybody, this is David Heretic coming at you with another edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. And tonight, okay, we're coming back to Tristania. Yes, indeed, Tristania Fans FEELIN YOU. Come on now. Here we go. Before we go any further, for those of you who are feeling inclined to doing all of the clicks and the likes and the bibbidi-bibbidi-bob, do me a favor before you do all that stuff. Please watch the whole video first, okay? Give me a chance to actually earn those clicks and likes. Now, after the video's done, if you still feel like doing all those clicks and likes, then by all means, feel free to click away. This comes as a request from Animal Soul, and Animal Soul wanted to see me react to this song by Tristania called Tender Trip on Earth. Now, have I heard the song before? No, I have not. To the best of my knowledge, this does not resonate with me in any way, shape, or form. However, there's always a possibility I may have heard the song in passing and I just don't realize it. So as always, if I start listening to the song and I suddenly go, wait a second, yeah, I've heard this song before, I'll let you know.
That's the truth.
You know me, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This was posted by, what? Macozibum?
You're putting me on.
M-A-C-O-Z-I-B-M. Take that for what it's worth. Macozibum? Sure, why not? And the video has 329,000 views. It'll get you there. Other than that, there's really nothing else left to say. Link to the original video will be down below in the video description for your viewing pleasure at your leisure. Let's get started. What do you say? Are you ready? Are you ready? Because here we go. All right, here we go. Tristania, Tender Trip on Earth. Cool. All right, let's do this.
All right, boy, let's do this.
straight ahead, 4/4 time, no problem there. Relaxed, laid back feel, no problem there. Halftime feel with the snare hits on 3, no problem there. Everything from the instrumentation standpoint sounds good. Songwriting sounds good. The arranging, I have a question mark there. The first couple of minutes we were fine, you know, with the male vocal coming in, kind of like I was kind of getting like Smith's vibes, like from the Smiths. I was kind of getting vibes with his vocal approach, or maybe The Cure, something like that, with the clear separation between vocals and instrumentation, where the vocals were it wasn't even, they weren't even trying to hide it. There was a very clear separation between the two. But I mean, not so much from a mix standpoint, or like, you know, it doesn't feel like, I'm not saying that the vocals didn't sound like it was part of this song. No, they absolutely did. But the vocals definitely stood out on their own. You know what I mean? Without the instrumentation. And I can further prove that by, and this is where I had a little bit of a problem. When the female vocal came in with all the instrumentation, halfway through her run, instrumentation pretty much all lays out except for the guitar. And this is where I'm struggling a little bit. Why would you do it there? You know, if you're going to have the instruments lay out, shouldn't you have done that at the beginning of your run, at the very beginning, like when the female vocal came in as the lead, boom, that would have been the place to have all the instruments lay out except for the guitar. You know what I mean? And then have it build up and have the instruments then come back in the second half. But that to me would have made a lot more sense than doing it the way that they did it here. It just felt, if I'm being honest, it felt a little awkward. It just felt a little strange. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not terrible, but it definitely was head scratching. Like, why did they do it that way? That's not going to get them the best, or not. No, it's not going to get them the best. It's not going to get them the most effective layout. It just felt a little awkward, you know. Anyway, no, so far so good. I'm not hating this at all. I'm enjoying this. Let's keep going and let's see where this goes. That was a good straight time. Double time.
I'm on a tender track, slowly losing range. Now I'm in the air. I am your rusted queen.
Not open to you. Really quick, going back a little bit to the split vocal, where they had the female vocal and the male vocal together. They put an effect. It sounded like either an AM radio effect or a telephone effect. I'm not sure which they did, But it sounds like they put one of those two on the male vocal only, while they kept the female vocal clean. But they had the female vocal dominating. The female vocal was clearly a little bit louder than the male vocal. Utilizing that mix and having them also an octave apart. Actually, it might have been 2 octaves apart. Yeah, it's actually 2 octaves apart. It worked. It did work. I'm not usually the biggest fan of effects on vocals, unless there's a point to it, a very clearly defined purpose behind it. Then I'm okay with it. This sounds like there was some direction there. Like it sounded to me like there was a reason for it. So I'm not mad at it. And the way that they blended them together made it even better. When they brought everybody back in and they had multiple voices now in there, the male vocal down low, where, you know, like it was during the first part of it, it still had the effect, but it was so pushed to the back, you had to really go looking for it. I mean, it's there. If you can find the vocal line I'm talking about, you will hear the effect, but it's so pushed to the back, it's hardly noticeable. I like that. I'm glad they did that. Otherwise, if they had kept it up in the mix, I think it would have sounded overused. It would have said it would have sounded overutilized, and that would have been a pretty big turnoff for me. So I'm glad they did what they did. They could not have done it better, given the circumstances of what they were utilizing. I think that was the best. That was the best case scenario right there. It really was. So good job on them. Let's finish this out and we'll get to the review and we'll talk about everything. Fade out. Not the best song. Oh, wait, there's more. What was the point of that? That was pointless. We had this linear fade and it came to a complete, well, almost complete stop. And then they bring this feedback fade in. Why? What was the point of that? What was the purpose? Was that leading into the next song on the album? I don't know, but for the purpose of this song, it was honestly, it was pretty pointless. Luckily, that didn't go on for too long. Let me get my thoughts together. I'll see you in the review, and we'll talk about it. Well, there you go, folks. That was Tristania with Tender Trip on Earth. This was a request from Animal Soul. Okay, there's really not a lot to talk about. The song was very straightforward. Let's just get to it. Let's just get to the score. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give that a 6.3. Yeah, 6.3. I feel good about that score. Let me tell you why.
Why?
Okay, first things first, the 6.3. What does that mean? Well, a 6.3 would translate to a pretty good score. Okay, it's a pretty good scale. I would also give it 3 out of 5 stars and a B- letter grade. So there you go, a 6.3, which equals a pretty good scale rating, 3 out of 5 stars and a B- letter grade. Now, how did I come to this score? So glad you asked. Okay, out of the 3 songs that I have reacted to from Tristania, I would put this one in the middle, if I'm being honest with you. I think I gave the first reaction I did, I think I gave that somewhere in the 5s. And the second reaction I did to them, if I'm not mistaken, I gave it like mid 7s. This is right about in the middle, maybe a little bit under. It was okay. I mean, actually, no, I take that back. It wasn't okay. It's a pretty good song. The energy and the drive of the song are nice, considering the fact that the song is primarily in a halftime feel, which I could absolutely appreciate. We did go up into straight time a couple times, and we did go up to double time a couple times, but we didn't stay there for very long. This was very halftime dominant. I got no problem with that, but when you do halftime songs that are in a halftime feel, for the most part of the song, it's going to suffer in the drive and energy department. That's going to happen. The feel is good, the feel is heavy, but the drive and the energy of the song, the pulse of the song, is going to be on the slower side, and that definitely happened here. Not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. It definitely fit the context of the song. It fit the mood and feel of the song. Just it did lack, however, in the energy and drive. So there was that. Vocally, I like the male vocal, even with the effect that it had on it in that one section where they doubled up on the voicings for the, I believe that was the 3rd verse. They had the female vocal over the male vocal, and they put the male vocal with an effect. The effect wasn't too strong, and because there was such a separation in range between the two, they were able to pull that off pretty well. It didn't hurt that the female vocal was a little bit louder in the mix than the male vocal. That certainly helped. But really, more than anything, it was the spacing in the integers that definitely did the biggest favor to that section. When they added the other voicings, they pushed that male vocal line to the back, and I also think that helped. And they didn't bury it completely. You could hear the male vocal line with the effect if you looked for it. You had to go searching for it. But if you did go looking for it, you could find it. But here's the thing. Because they did push it to the back and they add all those other voices, it kind of covered up the vocal effect. It wasn't glaring. You know what I mean? So it didn't sound like it was overused or overutilized. I appreciate that. I absolutely do. I've always been a big advocate for being on the careful side, on the cautious side of utilizing effects on vocals. Don't get me wrong, they can be very effective when used properly, when used strategically. There's a reason for this. You put a phone effect, a telephone effect on the vocal line when you're trying to show that someone's talking on the phone or having a phone conversation. You add that effect. Okay, that makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. There's a reason for it. But when people just slap effects on the vocals for absolutely no rhyme or reason whatsoever, that's when I have an issue. Then it's like, okay, why'd you do that? Well, what are you trying to convey? What are you trying to show here? Especially when they overuse it. Like, God, I have heard songs where every single verse has an effect on it. And sometimes they're even different effects. Like one verse has one effect, another verse has another effect, another verse has another effect. What's the point? You know, especially since it doesn't convey within the song itself. And it doesn't even fit the mood and tone of the song. They're just doing it just for the sake of doing it. Why in the world would you do that? I don't know. I guess it's the new happening thing. It's the new hip thing, I guess. The kid playing with the new toy on Christmas morning. No, but in this case, they didn't overutilize it. They didn't overdo it. It was very tastefully done, actually, so I definitely gotta give them credit for that. The chordal progression in the song, simple, very easy to follow. I would dare say predictable. Now, is that a bad thing? No, not bad. Sounded really good. It had that gothic feel to it for sure. And because it did have the gothic feel to it, it was kind of easy to figure out which chords they were going to go to. You know, chord to chord to chord. It was like, okay, they're going to go here next. Yep, there it is. And that's not bad. There's a certain level of comfort that comes with predictability. Everybody's got this negative context when people say a song's predictable. I don't know why that is. I don't know why people put a negative context on it, but they do. I got no problem with songs being predictable. I mean, I got no issue with that whatsoever. It makes the song relatable. It makes the song easy to follow along with. I don't see an issue there. My only issue with the song really came in the second verse. When the female vocal came in solo. And she had, instrumentation behind her, backing her up and pushing her along, and it felt really nice. And then when the second half of that same verse came along, instrumentation laid out except for guitar. They should have taken the second half and the first half and switched them. Start off the verse with the female vocal and guitar only. Everybody else lays out. Okay, great. That would have made a lot more sense. And then build and build and build. Boom, everybody comes in for the second half of the verse. That would have made a lot more sense to me. I think it would have had a far greater impact on the song. Did laying out the instruments in the second half of the verse have an impact on the song? It did. It did have an impact on the song. It wasn't an utter and complete waste. But I do feel the opportunity was wasted to have it be even more effective if they had switched it. But, that's neither here nor there, I guess. That's just my own personal opinion. Take that for what it's worth. No, overall, I think it's a pretty good song. I do. So we've had 3 songs from Tristania now. 1 in the 5s, 1 in the 6s, 1 in the 7s. Boy, this band's all over the place. If we do more reactions to them, I'd be curious to see where those other songs end up. Are they going to end up in the same realm of the 5s, 6s, and 7s? Or are we going to see some 8s? Maybe possibly 9s. I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you. I wouldn't be able to tell you until I heard them. So, but as it stands right now, pretty diverse in the scoring, that's for sure. But anyway, I think it's a pretty good song. It's about mid-range for what I've heard out of them. I would definitely put this at the number 2 spot without question. So yeah, 6.3, I feel good with that score, and that's where we're gonna stay. So let's wrap everything up here in a nice shiny bow, shall we? We got a 6.3, which translates to a pretty good scale rating, 3 out of 5 stars, and a B- letter grade. Take your pick, I don't care, whichever one of those floats your boat. Final word, final score, I have spoken. Well, that's gonna do it for this edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Hopefully I was able to entertain you. If I was able to put a smile on your face and brighten your day, I did my job, and I'm so glad I could do it. If you guys feel like joining the fan base, go ahead and click on that button down there. If you guys want to like the video, go ahead and like the video. If you guys want to ring the bell, go ahead and ring the bell. It honestly doesn't make any difference at all to me, but if you guys feel like doing these things, well then by all means, feel free to do so. Well, that's going to do it for the night, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, this is David Heretic signing off, reminding you to stay fabulous and support each other. Later. Peace.